of No Dominion, is a poem written by British poet Dylan Thomas 1914–1953. The title comes from St. Paul's Epistle to the Romans 6:9. Dylan Marlays Thomas, the 27th of October 1914, the 9th of November 1953, was a Welsh poet and writer whose works include the poems "Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night" and Death Shall Have No Dominion, as well as the play for voices Under Milk Wood. He also wrote stories and radio broadcasts such as A Child's Christmas in Wales and Portrait of the Artist as a Young Dog. He became widely popular in his lifetime and remained so after his death at the age of 39 in New York City. By then, he had acquired a reputation, which he had encouraged, as a roistering, drunken and doomed poet. The poem, "And Death Shall Have No Dominion." Dead men naked they shall be one, with the man in the wind and the west moon. When their bones are picked clean and the clean bones gone, they shall have stars at elbow and foot. Though they go mad they shall be sane. Though they sink through the sea they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost love shall not. And death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea, they lying long shall not die windily, twisting on racks when sinews give way. Strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Faith in their hands shall snap in two, and the unicorn evils run them through. Split all ends up they shan't crack. And death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. No more may gulls cry at their ears, or waves break loud on the seashores. Where blew a flower may a flower no more lift its head to the blows of the rain. Though they be mad and dead as nails, heads of the characters hammer through daisies, break in the sun till the sun breaks down. And death shall have no dominion. Summary. Menu. Dylan Thomas. And Death Shall Have No Dominion by Dylan Thomas. And Death Shall Have No Dominion is about the power that death does not have over mankind and how men are unified after death, not divided. And Death Shall Have No Dominion is a 3-stanza poem written by Dylan Thomas and published in May of 1933 in New England Weekly. The poem has no unifying rhyme scheme, but through its use of a refrain and lyrical uses of language, it is clear that Thomas wrote this poem as an homage to the era of Romanticism in which these elements were in peak use. The title, Death Shall Have No Dominion, comes from Romans, the 6th book of the New Testament Bible. The line is used in reference to the resurrection of Christ and the lack of control that death truly has. And death shall have no dominion. Analysis. First stanza. And death shall have no dominion. Dead man naked they shall be one. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis. Though lovers be lost love shall not. And death shall have no dominion. This piece begins with the first repetition of the title line. This line, and death shall have no dominion, runs throughout this poem like a refrain. It appears at the beginning and the ending of each stanza, as well as serving as the title. It is important to understand that this phrase is used to assert that, no matter the circumstances, death shall have no dominion. Death is not all-powerful as it is sometimes made out to be. The second line of this point presents one of the ways in which death is not all-powerful. It does not divide men as they die but brings them together. All of these, dead men naked shall be one. Death will bring them together, all men from all walks of life. In the following lines the speaker begins using more magical imagery. The man, in the wind, and the man in the west moon, shall be among those that are united. This type of imagery is common in Thomas's work. It is important throughout the reading of this piece to remember the refrain of the poem and remind oneself what point Thomas is trying to make. Mentally inserting the title of this piece before the fourth line of this stanza can help keep the poem in context. Death shall have no domain. When their bones are picked clean and the clean bones gone. Death's lack of control is not temporary, it is everlasting. Even when it has taken a man, cleaned his bones, and destroyed the clean bones, still it will not have total control. These men that are less than bones will still have stars at elbow and foot. They will all be together in the next world, whatever that may be, and united in their new common state. The next 3 lines each begin with a though statement. It is after these lines that the reader may again want to remember the title refrain of this poem. The first of these lines is a contrasting statement, that even when one of these men is mad he is actually sane because each will experience the same world. If everyone is insane, no one is. The second, though, statement makes another clear reference to death, and this time to the resurrection, a distinctly religious image that should not be overlooked. Men will sink through the sea, and they shall rise again. Lastly, the final, though, statement is to do with emotional death. Even though death may bring an end to specific love, it cannot end love in its entirety. This stanza ends, as do the following 2, with the opening line, and death shall have no dominion. Second stanza, and death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis. Split all ends up they shan't crack. And death shall have no dominion. The second stanza of the poem begins another repetition of the refrain, and then with another reference to the sea. The sea is described as being winding, its layers of water are twisting around one another, and within the water are those lying long, use of alliteration here with the double L sound. The bodies of dead men are stretched out under the water and appear long in a limb. They are said to have not died, windily, they did not have long drawn out deaths but met it perhaps in an instant. There is a perfect end rhyme at the end of lines 11 and 12 with windily and sea. The fourth line of the poem introduces another way to meet death that is much more painful, through torture and agony. Twisting on racks when sinews give way. Strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. The rack and the wheel reference 2 different medieval torture devices, and even though these men's lives are ending horribly, they do not break. This idea is continued throughout the rest of this stanza. Their faith may in their hand snap in 2, and the unicorn evils of the world may run them through, but they will not break. These men are having their faith taken from them and meeting every kind of evil, but still, they are strong and death does not take everything from them. Third stanza, and death shall have no dominion. No more may gulls cry at their ears. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis. Break in the sun till the sun breaks down. And death shall have no dominion. In the last stanza of this piece, after the repetition of the refrain, Thomas's speaker goes through a few elements of life that these men will no longer experience. The sea is brought into the poem once more at this point, as it is made clear these men will never again hear a seagull cry at their ears, or hear the waves break on the seashore. These experiences that many take for granted are gone forever, and this loss is emphasized with the next line as the speaker emphasizes the loss by saying, "Where blew a flower may a flower no more life its head to the blows of the rain." Never again will beautiful things be as they were for these men, but just like these flowers, they are lifting their heads to the rain. The last 4 lines conclude this poem and reinforce the idea of death being unable to break mankind. The manere dead as nails, and death, with its hammer, destroys beautiful things like daisies or the sun. Still, it shall not have dominion over mankind. Man can resist all that death can come up with. Source credit: https://poemanalysis.com/Dylan-Thomas/and-death-shall-have-no-dominion/.